All right. Well, I think we are ready to get started. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. We are excited to have you and really looking forward to working through an introductory and interactive financial planning session with all of you. So, you should have received a little bit of pre-work. I know there's probably going to be questions that come by going through that worksheet that we sent out. One other ask I have of you as we work through today's webinar is please have your phone available. I know that's the opposite of what most people usually ask, but we are going to ask you to vote on the topics that we will actually be covering. So we can go to our next slide to cover our agenda. I, of course, will introduce myself a little bit further. From there, we will also introduce my colleague, Janelle McCreary. Then we're going to shift towards the planning topics that we're going to be covering. We're going to have you vote on those, kind of do our live planning exercise all together. And then we will wrap up answering any questions that are top of mind. Some of you have already sent questions ahead of schedule, so thank you for doing so. And then we will take a few questions from the group that is on the call with us as well. So we can go ahead and go to the next slide. Happy to introduce myself first. My name is Ryan Emerson. I have been with Curi Capital coming up on about 3 years. I have been working as a financial advisor for about 13 years. I run our wealth builder team here at Curi Capital that's really focused on helping individuals and families in the accumulation stage of their financial journey. So I'm fortunate to be based out of our Denver, Colorado office. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to Janelle to introduce herself as well.
Hi there, Janelle McCreary. I'm a certified financial planner. I've been in the industry my whole career, so over 20 years. I love what I do. I love working with clients, getting to know them, help them go through their financial lives and take control. Really great to be here with you all today. Thank you so much.
Perfect. We'll just introduce Curi Capital a little bit further as well as far as what we do. So Janelle and I are both on our wealth builder team, really helping individuals and families in that accumulation stage of their life. We also have our wealth management teams. We have a family office service here as well that helps families as their complexity continues to grow. Our retirement planning solutions group helps organizations build and maintain high quality employer sponsored savings plans. So collectively, we manage about 14 billion in assets, and we're working with about 3,200 families across the nation today. So we can go ahead and jump to the next slide. Really what we want you to be thinking about as you're entering today's call and starting to answer some of these basic and then higher level questions about your financial life is we want you to think of this journey really as your financial roadmap. So early on, it's about getting organized. It's about setting a budget, saving to the right accounts, and managing debt appropriately. As your career progresses, the focus is going to shift towards growing wealth, planning for taxes, protecting your assets. And later on, it's going to be about preserving what you've built and hopefully creating that legacy if that's important to you. So having a clear roadmap will help you stay on course, really no matter where you are in your career. Let's go to the next slide. Just to start introducing what we're going to be working on here shortly. I know we sent this document out ahead of time for all of you to be thinking through. So go ahead and pull that out now. Janelle is going to be leading us through this exercise where we're going to start checking, hopefully filling out some of these boxes as well. One thing I just want you to be aware of, you saw it earlier, we have our QR codes. You can access us after today's call if you have any questions or if you're struggling to answer any of these questions, we're happy to schedule a one-on-one with you as well. So let's get our phones out at this point. Pull up your camera, please, and we are going to go ahead and vote on the primary topics that we're going to talk about throughout the rest of our call. So we'll give everybody about a minute to vote, and then we will dive into the top 3 topics that we are going to present on.
Terrific. Thanks, Ryan. And as you all are voting, somebody already did it. That's impressive. As you all are voting, if you didn't go through the exercise of that one pager that we sent you, I would encourage you to consider doing so. It's a really good starting place for getting yourself financially organized.
All right, it looks like the voting has slowed down. So let's go ahead and go to our results, and then we can take over from there. And you can keep voting if you have not yet. QR code's still up there. But it looks like we're going to focus on contributing to my 401k, creating a tax strategy, and building an emergency fund for our 3 topics today. So let's go ahead and jump into the 401k.
Okay, terrific. So I was going to start with emergency fund. That is just fine. Okay. So the viewers have spoken. Let's talk about retirement plans. Even if retiring seems like an eternity away from now, doing small things today can have a huge impact on your future plans. The first and most important step is simple. If your company offers a match on your retirement contributions, do everything you can to get that match. It's free money, and free money is the best kind of money. Next, take a look at how your investments are actually allocated. Is it sitting there all in cash? Is it sitting in a money market fund? Is it all in stock? What is it doing in your 401k? Make sure that you understand what that looks like and that you're okay with those movements that are going to occur or not occur based on how that's allocated. Are there any hidden fees? So typically, most 401ks have what are called mutual funds inside of them. Most of us know what mutual funds are. Mutual funds have a little hidden expense ratio. This is a behind the scenes cost. So just understand that there are fees in there, and make sure that you understand what you're invested in and that you're okay with that fee. Are you balanced between growth and stability? Are you too aggressive? What does that look like? Here's a big one. Don't panic when you see scary headlines. This year has been the king of scary headlines. Retirement investing is a long game. The market will go up and it'll go down. We absolutely know that. Right now, the market's at an all-time high. It's a little bit down today, but it's still trading at all-time high levels. The worst thing you can do is constantly react to the news. Even the smartest people don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So just make sure that you are staying invested for the long term so that you can participate when those markets swing. As I like to say, the headlines of your life, so job changes, marriage, kids, those things should dictate your financial plan, not the headlines in the news. So be very disciplined as far as that goes. Also, think about the mix of pre-tax and Roth contributions. In most 401ks, there are 2 different ways that you can contribute. You can contribute pre-tax or you can contribute Roth. So understand how you're contributing and whether it makes sense to instead contribute a little bit to the Roth or contribute a little bit to the regular 401k so that you have more flexibility down the road when it comes time to retire. So also, if you're over 50, catch-up contributions are really powerful. So once you turn 50, you're allowed to contribute more than everybody else is. So just make sure that you're taking advantage of those things. I would also encourage you, if you get a pay bump, consider automatically increasing your contributions by just 1% every year, and you will hardly feel it in your paycheck, but your future self will thank you. Okay, what was the next one?
I think the next one is to creating a tax strategy.
Oh, tax strategies. Okay, so tax strategy is my favorite. It's everyone's favorite topic, right? Having a plan can make a big difference in your finances. Start with the basics. The easiest thing you can do if you are employed right now is to max out your 401k. Look and understand if you can contribute also to an IRA. Does your company offer a health plan that has an HSA? Understand what those are and how those impact your taxes. If you contribute to a 401k, you are automatically lowering your taxes every single year. So if you do that over your career, it makes a huge difference in what you pay Uncle Sam over the long term, but it also helps future you as well. So HSAs, if you're eligible, are the most tax advantaged account offered in the United States. They are the best. So when you contribute $1, you pay less in your wages this year, but then you also get tax-free growth on those dollars, and they can be invested. And later in future years, when you need to access those for things like Medicare supplements or things like that, or long-term, like elder care, you can access those dollars tax-free if they're a qualified medical expense. So that is a huge, huge, huge win. Really encourage you to consider whether that's a good choice for your family. So also many companies offer stock options. If you are one of those lucky people, you should have someone advise you on that, whether it's a CPA, a CFP. You need to understand what those are and the options available to you. Do you prepare your own taxes? If you do, are you confident in that? Are you doing it right? Do you think you're doing it right? Do you understand why you're paying what you're paying? If you have a tax person, are they just a tax preparer, or are they a tax planner who is working to provide ideas of ways that you can reduce your tax bill every year and in the future when you're retired? So just make sure that you understand there are different kinds of tax preparers, and make sure that you have one that works well for you. There is a lot that can be done to help reduce your overall tax bill every single year. And that is my favorite area to work on as a financial planner, because I feel like it's just this vortex that we pay into, and we just, okay, here's my money. But if we can reduce that, ooh, that's awesome. You can also be strategic with your investments. Make sure that you know what you're doing. If you decide that you're going to start day trading, understand the consequences of that. There are heavy consequences. So just know what you're doing before you start doing it. Charitable giving is also a really good opportunity for those that are charitably inclined, and understand the best way to make those charitable contributions. Let me give you an example. So I work with a lot of people that are religious and that make their regular contributions to their church. Instead of paying with cash, if you're over a certain age, you can make those contributions with your pre-tax retirement accounts, and you don't have to pay taxes on it. So instead of just giving the charity 70 cents, you could give them that full dollar. So there's lots of neat things you can do if you're charitably inclined. Okay, and then I think the last one was emergency fund. All right, emergency funds are fun. You want to know why they're fun? They are fun. When I started my career I graduated, well, okay, I started working in the industry before I graduated from college. But when I was in the very large majority of my career, and anyone over 50 on this phone call is going to be well acquainted with this, it used to be that you didn't get anything for your savings. Wells Fargo and Bank of America don't necessarily want you to know that you can get like 3.75 to 4% on your high yield savings, but you can and you should. So the most important thing to do, have a checking account, great. Aside from that, separate from that, have an emergency fund. This is your safety net, and it's something that will help you sleep at night, and it will also help you when, like my next door neighbor on Christmas Eve this last year, their fridge went out and they had to go to Best Buy and buy a fridge the day before Christmas. Like, you have no money, and the fridge is like 3 times more than what it would have been another day. But anyway, so just make sure that you have the cash available in the event that you need it. The easiest thing you can do, open that high yield savings account, understand the difference between just a regular savings account at your bank or credit union versus a high yield savings account. So again, you're looking for that 3.75 to 4% interest rate, and you want to make sure that that has no fees. You understand that there's no lockup period. That is totally available, and it's something that you should use. The target there is 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Good rule of thumb, if you're in a volatile industry, you may go for more like 12 months. It depends on your family situation and your job stability and your comfort level. Another good tip there is to automate it. Set up automatic transfers from your paycheck. Every time you get paid, just like you would with a retirement savings account. Just move over 50 bucks, move over 50 bucks. And eventually it'll grow and you'll have a nice little emergency fund.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Janelle, for running through that. I know there's three more important topics on there, three more topics that you should be thinking about if you're joining us on today's call. So want to make sure that if you have any questions regarding more personal side of things, we are here as a resource for you. So we will pull up those QR codes again, but we do want to take some time to answer questions. Again, we got a few ahead of our call that we're going to address, but I know we just scraped the surface today. So again, want to emphasize that we are here as a resource. So if you would like to do a free consultation with us, dive into that worksheet a little bit more in a little bit more detail, one-on-one or two-on-one, we are happy to do that. But we're going to open up for questions for the last 10 to 12 minutes here to answer what else is top of mind for all of you.
All right, thanks everybody for your questions. There is a Q&A box if something pops up while we go through these. But the first one is, how should I prioritize my retirement investment strategy? Like contributing and investing in Vanguard stocks or paying down the mortgage?
Very good question. I'll take that one. So when you think of prioritizing, it's important to look at the interest rates on your mortgage to decide if you are need to be paying that down first. As Janelle mentioned, of course, you want to make sure you're contributing at least up to that employer match so that you are easily doubling your funds that you are putting into your 401k before you think of contributing elsewhere or potentially paying down other debt, assuming it's not ultra high interest debt that we need to be worrying about. Again, a good thing to be thinking about and considering that you want to strategically have a plan and put those in order of where you should be paying that next dollar to.
That's a great question. Yeah.
What are your best tips for catching up for retirement if you're over 55? How do you know if you're paying too much on federal taxes or your paycheck?
Okay, that's a great question. Tips for catching up. I feel like it's common for people to come to us in their 50s and say, I feel like I'm so behind. I feel like I'm so behind. That's okay. You still have time. It's okay. There's always things you can do to improve that picture. The easiest thing you can do is to, what Ryan just said, max out that 401k. And what that looks like at age 55 is different than what it looked like at age 49. So if you're able to do that, the easiest answer is always going to be, I should have started at 21. I should have done that. But if you didn't, it's okay. You still have time. You still have lots of years. And there's lots of things you can do. Other part of that, I think, was, how do I know if I'm paying too much in federal taxes on my paycheck? A couple things you can do there. If you are going to defer more to your 401k, you're going to pay less in your taxes. Your overall tax bill is going to be less, so that it will help you. It's complicated, especially with the new tax forms that came out like a few years ago. I feel like it's rocket science to try to figure out exactly the right number. That's something that we help our clients with all the time, is making sure that they're deferring the right amount. A good rule of thumb is you could potentially talk to your CPA about it, your tax preparer, or just you can ping us and we'll help you sort through that. One thing that I wanted to mention is that Ryan, our firm, we are certified financial planners. So we are fiduciaries. So we are legally obligated to act in the best interest of our clients. So we're not salespeople or anything. We're just really trying to look out for people. And honestly, whether you engage with us or not, we would love to help you answer any of these questions that are more specific.
Great, thanks, Janelle. The next one is, how do I set up and maintain a budget?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of resources out there today, because budgeting is one of those things that sounds so simple, but it's difficult to actually stick to. So a couple of resources that I've recommended to even clients of ours, one of these is you get a free demo, and then there is a paid for subscription if it works out for you. One I've seen and used is YNAB, YNAB. It's a great budgeting service. Really does a good job keeping track of where all your inflows are coming from and outflows are going as well, just to categorize really where your spending habits are being impacted the most. So another great one is Compound Money. Also looking at that as our Copilot Money, sorry, really allows you to do some of the same budgeting exercise. You can link investment accounts there if you want to track that. But a lot of great tools out there. I would recommend trying one or two out to see what's going to be the best fit for you, and then revisiting it at least monthly. I think that's the important part of it is, hey, now that I have a sense of where my spending habits are, you need to stay on top of it and figure out where you might be able to reduce those so that you can be a little bit more comfortable going forward.
Thanks, Ryan. The next question is, how do I know if I'm on the right track for a comfortable retirement?
Awesome. I love that question. I think the easiest, and I'm biased when I say this, talk to a financial planner, talk to a certified financial planner. I think that's a really important thing to do to make sure that you know what you're doing, you know that you're going to be okay in retirement, you know all the options available to you, and understand the implications of the decisions you make. So I think and engaging with someone sooner is better, because if you are able to get into a habit of establish that pattern of making those good financial decisions, saving on taxes at age 25, then you are, leading a lifetime of you're just really setting yourself up really well for the future. So I would suggest talking to a CFP. There are lots of different kind of finance people, but I would stick with a CFP.
Great. Thanks, Janelle. The next question is, how do I best manage episodic income?
Yeah, good question. I think this is something we typically see with our realtor clients, that income isn't that every other week paycheck. So there's uncertainty that naturally comes along with that. And it's appropriate to plan for that. So when Janelle talked about it earlier, having a little bit more of that buffer when it's situational, certainly for this type of income where some months is a large commission paycheck and some months is nothing, you have to have a bigger buffer in place. So making sure that you have a high yield cash savings that can easily be connected to your checking account or wherever you like to pay your bills from. So we would encourage certainly increasing that buffer just so you have a little bit more flexibility, knowing that a little bit more uncertainty doesn't have to necessarily create a lot more financial stress.
Yeah, and those emergency funds can just like save a family's life. They really can. We all know people that were impacted when COVID happened, and having that emergency fund really, really would have been huge, or was huge, for those that had it.
Great. Thank you both. Our next question is, how do I know if I'm paying too much on federal taxes on my paycheck?
I think we covered that a little bit earlier, but important to understand, if you're getting a big refund every year, you need to pay attention to that, and that's something that should be questioned. If when you pay your taxes, you're like, wait, my tax, I didn't even change anything from last year. Why am I owing so much? You need to understand that. That's important. So I would engage with somebody, with a professional, to understand that.
Yeah, and it's important, especially if you're married and both working, that you're looking at what your withholdings are, looking at other deductions such as mortgage interest can impact that. Because if you are getting a big refund at the end of the year or when you file your taxes, you can reduce what you're withholding each paycheck, have a little bit more take-home pay, so that that refund isn't as big and only once a year.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Thank you. I think we have time for just one more. The last question is, what is the main difference between savings and emergency funds?
Good question. Emergency funds, when we look at that, it's that typical 3 to 6 months of expenses for those life's curveballs, right? When we think of savings, or there's a lot of different buckets that come along with savings. There's retirement savings. That's going to be your 401k, your IRAs, really those buckets that are focused towards when I do eventually retire, that's that money I'm going to be tapping into, but there can be penalties to touching that today. We also can look at savings if you're saving towards a major purchase, like a home or some sort of camper, or you name it. It's different for everybody. So having buckets saving towards that, I still would encourage for those types of savings, maybe short to mid-term, when you know you have a big purchase coming up, you still want those in high yield cash accounts for now. They're very accessible. Interest rates are going to be more competitive than your average checking or large bank savings account. So making sure that you're getting a few percentage points at least in today's marketplace is important for those large purchases as well. So kind of a lot of different buckets here that you can be thinking about from savings, but you do want to define those. And oftentimes I recommend my clients split those up so you really know what's what.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us. Today's call was recorded. Again, please use our QR codes here if you would like to schedule a one-on-one time with us. But please stay tuned for future events like this where we'll dive into other financial details. But thank you, everybody. We hope you have a great rest of your week and a nice weekend when it gets here. Take care.